Hello, it's really late, but I'm gonna film my New Year's resolutions. Now, technically, I do still have time, and realistically, especially by the time this video goes out, I would have had plenty of time. But I don't know, I just really want to do it today. So it's probably gonna be quick, but that's okay. Also, this might end up being called part one, because I might think of some more. These are just ones I thought of today. So, the first one's a pretty big one to start with, and it's to be more open about my identity. I would say I'm quite a confident person, and I'm comfortable in who I am and everything like that. But there's a couple of parts of my identity that I've been toying with this year, not in terms of myself. They are all things that I'm pretty confident in myself about, but about telling other people about these things. So for example, a big one was obviously asexuality and talking about the fact that I'm asexual, and my YouTube channel was like a whole thing. Although what I did find interesting, that video only went out a few weeks ago, but already I've had a couple of messages saying, guess what, I'm asexual too, which has just been amazing. And I'm very glad people feel comfortable to say that. But actually I found after I posted it on YouTube, or rather after I'd made the video, because I filmed it in July, I felt more confident about talking about it to other people. Now, it's still not like I would walk into a room and be like, hi, I'm asexual. But if it were to come up in the conversation, I wouldn't shy away from it. And I'd be like, oh, but I'm asexual, so this is this. And I want to keep doing that. And I would say there are three main parts of my identity that I want to be more open about. So obviously number one is being asexual. Again, I don't need to scream it from the rooftops, but it's just if it comes up in conversation, I want to mention it. Number two is being a YouTuber. I don't even know if I can call myself that, but I want to feel more confident, and I say this every year, about filming in public, but also telling people that I'm working with or whatever that I make YouTube videos. Because a lot of my summer I had to blur out or just cut completely because I didn't want to tell people that I have a YouTube channel, and therefore I didn't even want to ask them if they'd be okay with being on the channel. And whenever I film stuff, I'm always like, oh yeah, I like making videos for memories, which is true. That is the reason I have this YouTube channel, but I'd rather just tell people I make YouTube videos. The problem is there's such a stigma around that, and I don't know why. And there always has been, I feel, at least since I've started it, which, guys, is 7 years ago. Mental. Mental! Anyway, just had a moment there. 7 years. Anyway, ridiculous that there's a stigma around it, but I need to work through it. And speaking of stigma, there is a third part of my identity that I am not ready to talk about on YouTube yet, but that in real life, I definitely want to be more open about. It's something I've always kind of shied away from, depending on the circle I'm in, and I need to get over that. Which leads me on really nicely to my second resolution, which is I want to make a video about that. The same way I made a video about my asexuality, at some point in this year, I would like to make a video about that third part of my identity. But even just thinking about that makes me really nervous, so we'll see when that happens. But that's one of my resolutions. Number 3 and 4 are nothing to do with those, but they are related to each other, and they are to go to Australia and to go to Holland. I've not been back to Australia since COVID, so 2020. Look, I don't love Australia. I'm not desperate to go back, but it is where my family is, and it's where my home is. I put that in quotation marks. It's like physically where my home is, not emotionally. And I just think it'd be nice to go back. It's ridiculous that I haven't been back in like 2 years. More now. And Holland, I think I did go last year. Yeah, I went this time last year, but that already feels too long. You can see how different my relationship is with each country. I am very desperate to go back to Holland. I really feel like I want to go so badly. Like if I could, I would go in January. The reason why I'm not going in January is because my grandparents who live there will be in Australia. So I'm like, I'd rather just tie it in with seeing them. There's no point in going and not seeing them. I mean, there is, but you know what I mean? So those are my two like travel goals. I've not set an amount for this year because after 2020, I was a bit like cautious about that. And if I've got those two, then I've already got like 2 countries I want to visit. I would like to go to a new country, I think. I'll add that in. That's my non-existent 11th resolution then, to visit a new country. Number 5 is a bit of an iffy one because the resolution is if I'm going to be in London all year, which is a big if, but if that is the case, I would like to move out of my grandmother's. She's been very lovely letting me stay there whenever I need, but I am also very aware that I am in her space and that if it's going to be a long-term thing, I need to get out of there. I love her very much and I'm very grateful to her, but if I'm going to be there long term, then I have to accept the living cost of living in London. That's just a fact. All right, number 6 is also very iffy because I'm going to try really hard for this, but at the end of the day, it is not exactly up to me, and it's to get 2 acting/performing jobs this year. I've been very lucky to have had 2 this past year, very lucky. and it's been a full year of work, which is just unbelievable. I'm very grateful for that. And it doesn't need to be a full year of work. Obviously that would be a dream, but even if it's like one acting gig for a few days, or even just one day, and then a separate one on another day, that would be enough for me. Just any 2 performing jobs in this year. And I think that's a really low bar to set, but I just don't want to push my luck. So that's that. Now on to some easier ones. I want to upload 52 videos, 1 for each week of the year. And that doesn't mean I need to do 1 a week, but it means that over the course of the year, I would like to hit 52. I have done an insane amount this year, and I did not expect that to happen. I don't know where I found the time to edit them, but I did. And that's why my goal is quite low actually for next year. Because like, I think last year I said 75, I think, but it's just because I have no idea what kind of time I'm going to be working with, how much time off I'm gonna have. Like this job, I've had so little time off, so I don't want to be pushing my luck. I do think 52 will be quite easy though, because I've already got something like 20 ready to go, but again, don't want to push my luck. And then on from that, again, I can't remember my resolutions from last year, I still need to look at them, but for this year, I want to read 12 books. I think that was my goal for 2022, and I think I read something like 25, which is incredible. But again, I just have no idea what kind of time I'm going to be working with. And because my primary way of reading books is audio, I rely on that really heavily. But I found even in this last week, I've had a couple of auditions, and when I have auditions, I want to only be listening to the songs. Like I would always prioritize listening to the songs that I'm auditioning with over listening to an audiobook. So if that's kind of how this year is going to run, I don't want to be setting myself a too high goal. We're just going to take it easy, you know? Make them manageable and realistic. Now, number 9/10, I don't know how you're counting, is to do a 1-month challenge. This is one actually that I stole from 2018, and I don't think it was in my goals for 2022, but I did end up doing it in 2022. For the month of July, I told myself I wasn't going to eat any chips and also no desserts at the restaurant where I worked, off the hotel, you know? And it worked really well. It was hard at times, but I was very happy with myself that I was able to do it, and it actually helped long term because it proved to me that I didn't need to be eating chips at every meal, and it also proved to me that I didn't need desserts every night, and that fruit was a really good dessert. So it doesn't need to be those again. It can be anything. It could be no soft drinks for a month, although I don't really feel like I need that. Like I'd like it to be something that will help me. We'll see. There's no like specifics about it. I don't care what month. I could do February if I need it to be easy. It can be whatever I want it to be, but I want to do a 1-month challenge because I did find it very rewarding and helpful. And then last but not least, this year I started a like line a day journal, and I think last year I started a grateful for journal again. I've started that many times. Do I have them here? I do. I got this notebook, I think for Christmas 2 years ago, and I've been using it. I've only got that much space left, and I've used that much. So we might finish it this year. That's where I put my grateful for, and then this notebook I was given, I think for Christmas last year. That's what's going through my head anyway. And this is where I made, I'll show you the last few pages so I don't tell you anything about my life. I like wrote these out on every single page and worked out how many I had to do per page. Some months have 3 per day or 3 per page, whatever. And that's where I write my line a day. And as you can see, I've got space for 4 years. So my intention is definitely to keep up with both of those. Those are my resolutions. This is a much longer video than I'd anticipated. I've got 2 minutes until midnight. Again, there might be a part 2, although I do think I've covered most of it in this video. Let me know some of your resolutions down below, and I'll see you at some point. Bye!